Good morning, it's Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and today I bring you guys my OP08 post OP09 red green Tony Chopper deck profile 2025. So, if you don't know, this is a leader that came out in the Two Legends or OP08. It is a leader that is Animal, Drum Kingdom, and Straw Hat, and he's a 4 life red green leader. With the ability activate may give 3 of your animal or drum kingdom type characters 1 rest at dawn. Not a bad effect, but overall, the fact that he's a split leader and the fact that red green is just not one of the strongest combinations in the game. If you're not red green law, you're really not doing well with these colors. Or I guess red green noted. I don't know. It's one of those leaders where his playstyle is really strong. However, his playstyle is done better by other decks. For example, Red Green Law is doing exactly what he's trying to do, which is spam the board using cards like Law and things like that. However, it's not better than also Zoro, who's doing the same thing this deck's doing, but as a 5 life leader and aggro. So I don't know, this leader's in a mixed bag. It's really strong when it gets getting its new support because it is getting 2 new cards in EBO2, which is awesome. And it definitely helps this deck out a lot. But until then, there is some weird things with this deck that we gotta discuss. So let's talk about it. So first things first, we play 4 copies of Hody Jones. Now I will say when it comes to the green aspect, that is one thing this deck has over Zoro. The green cards are absolutely phenomenal for this deck, and Zoro would kill to have any of these cards to have access to. Hody Jones is one of the best rush cards in the game. He's a 7/8 on rush, on play rush. You do lose a life, however, that doesn't matter because he rests either 2 of your opponent's Dawn or 2 of your opponent's characters, or 1 Dawn and 1 character. He's just one of those most flexible end game options we've ever seen, and he's a must-have for this deck. We're also playing 4 copies of Trafalgar Law. Now, this is what I mean by he's like a red-green law. This is one of the best cards for red-green law, and this is no exception to that. This card is absolutely phenomenal for the deck. It's a 5/6 blocker that on play returns one of your characters to hand to replay a different character. You can also just replay the same character, which is kind of funny. Really great blocker, helps you get rid of your type binds. This deck likes to use a lot of small characters, so you can attack with a small character, play out the law, where you bounce it back to hand, then play it back again as active, which is really nice. We're also playing 4 copies of Brook. Now, you're probably familiar with this card when it comes to Green Uta, the film deck. This is one of her film cards. However, did you know this card can cheat out any card that is Straw Hat type, 3 or less, which is kind of crazy. Everyone kind of forgets that because they just think, oh, it's a film card, you play it in film decks. But no, if you are playing a green Straw Hat deck, you should be playing Brook because Brook says play a film or Straw Hat type character with 3 or less from hand. And that is regardless of color, by the way. It doesn't have to be Toy Chopper. Let's say you're playing a blue-green what's called Straw Hat deck. Well, you can still do that with Brook. Same thing. Really good card. We're also playing 4 copies of Roro Zoro. Now, a lot of people play Kid and Killer in this position. I like Zoro just because, 1, it's a 3/5, so you can use Law to bounce about the hand. 2, it's searchable in the deck because we can search out Straw Hats. And 3, it's just a really solid card. It has rush, it's low cost. It's just a great card overall. So that's it for our non-Toy Chopper cards when it comes to our beaters. Let's actually talk about that. So we're playing 4 copies of this card. This is a card that came out in OP08. It is the heart and soul of any zoo build. This card is absolutely crazy. Your turn on player when attacking, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Then up to one of your, and then play an animal card with 4,000 or less from your hand. Really insane card. Really nasty card. Allows you on player when attacking to spam the board with a whole bunch of characters. They do come out rested. However, we do have ways around that. Speaking of cards that come out rested, we also have Tony Chopper. Now this is this is an old card from lovely Alabasta set, who plays a animal type card with 3,000 power or less directly from hand, which is pretty solid, and overall just another great card. We're also playing 4 copies of the Tony Chopper blocker, who basically says, hey, not only am I a blocker, which is really great, but also has the ability when attacking to give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power, which is really good. Overall, just a great card. We're also playing the new card, the Odyssey Toy Chopper. This card's actually insane for the deck, and is a much needed card. This card is probably the best card you can play off the 3 cost. Basically, it restands during the end phase, because you can choose during the end phase to restand an Odyssey type character that includes itself, which is ultimately really, really good. Great card overall. It's just a fantastic card in general. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Hiking Bear. Hiking Bear is just a great card. It's a 2K, but it's also not only just a 2K, but also 1 Dawn you can give another character plus 1,000 power, which is really nice. We're also playing 4 copies of Toy Chopper, the 2K, which is also just a really good card. We're also playing, of course, 2 copies of Dr. Kureha and 4 copies of Nami. These are basically our searchers in the deck. We want to really get to this Toy Chopper, so we're playing basically 6 copies of Nami. And then we're also playing 4 copies of Shut Up and Come With Us, which is basically lovely 8 copies of Nami. Or actually 10. So you have 4, you have 8, and then you have 10. That's 10 ways to get to your Toy Chopper, which is really, really nice. Not kind of just opening it or into your life, which is pretty awesome. This card, if you don't know, has the ability to look at the top 5 cards in your deck to add an animal type and play it. Really strong card. Absolutely phenomenal card. Makes the whole deck go round. So that is it for the deck profile. I do think this leader gets better in EBO2. However, until they fix the core issues of this deck, which is playing out little Toy Chopper guys, there's going to be an issue with this deck. This deck is always going to be competing against Law and against Zoro as the best zoo build of the green-red or just red archetype of low bodies. And the other issue is that kind of playstyle is not meta right now. Like Zoro and Law are B tier leaders at best, and kind of Toy Chopper finds itself as a C tier leader because of that. There's too much destruction right now. Black KOs this deck hard. Blackbeard turns off your auto plays. You can't do nothing. And not to mention, every other black deck just KOs every little thing you're playing. Yellow, same shit. Because of that 5 cost Nami, they can kill any of your characters for free, basically, besides your 7 drop. And then by the time you're dropping Hoodie Jones, they'll probably have a whole bunch of cards to contest it, which is not good. So you're already bad against yellow, you're already bad against green. Black. But you're also bad against blue, because Blue Dolphy outspams you and is playing out bigger bodies. And is also being more aggressive. So this deck is just in a weird spot where it's a really cool deck, has a really cool plays. However, it's like a mid-range deck. It does everything that every other deck can, but worse at it. And I don't know how to make it better. I'm pretty happy with this list. I'm really happy with this list. However, I do feel like it's missing 1 or 2 cards to make it better. I don't know if the EBO2 cards are it, but who knows. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy. Don't get stupid. See you on the next one, and bye-bye.